Let's go ahead and jump on over to Bitcoin now. Take a look at what's going on here. As you know, Bitcoin was in a rising wedge. I'm going to do a quick recap for anybody who hasn't seen the last couple of shows. Bitcoin was in a rising wedge. These statistically break to the downside. The fact is it did not break to the downside. Instead, Bitcoin broke to the upside. There was a 30% likelihood it would break to the upside, 70% likelihood it would break to the downside. We took the less likely, more bullish option and broke up. Then we went into a symmetrical triangle pattern right here with Bitcoin trading between 44 and 45. And then we broke up out of that with a lot of vigor. We saw Bitcoin in the span of just a couple of hours rallying from 44.8 all the way up here on the wick, 6% in 4 hours. 6% in 4 hours. Remember, in most years pre-pandemic, the stock market would gain on average 8 to 10% in a year. We saw a 6% rally on Bitcoin in 4 hours. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's so boring, there's no volatility, how could I ever make a trade in this market? I'm here to tell you that's just not true. There is plenty of opportunity to make trades in this market, especially considering we're starting to go into proper trends right now instead of most of the sideways action that we were seeing back over here in the beginning of March. Now we actually have a trend that we can be trading the swings on. So that's a very good sign for any of you traders, and another reason to get Lux Algo, because it's going to help you figure out those trends. So quick overview, some of the things that we're looking at right now on the long-term macro timelines are: how is Bitcoin going to get back to all-time high? That's something that we're very interested in. And what are the steps to getting there? That's something we're very interested in as well. The first step that Bitcoin had to take, and I talked about this for weeks, I've talked about this for months actually, is Bitcoin needed to set a new higher high above 46,000. Now back over here, we talked about how it needed to get above 42,000. It did, but then it set 46 as a high. Ever since then, that has been the local high that Bitcoin has set. So we needed to get above that, so we were setting higher highs, because what is an uptrend? An uptrend is quite simply a market with higher highs and higher lows. If we see the market is doing this number, making higher highs and higher lows, we're in an uptrend. If we see the market doing this number, where there's lower highs and lower lows, then we are in a downtrend, and we don't want that. We want to be in an uptrend right now because Bitcoin is undervalued, in my opinion. So how do we do that? We set higher highs and higher lows. But there's also several other technical confirmations, such as out on the 3-daily chart, we have Lux Algo flashing a buy signal that we have only seen happen 12 times in history. This is number 13. 11 of those 12 have resulted in an average 50% rally to the upside. The one that did not result in a rally only resulted in a 7% loss. So Lux Algo confirmed buy signals out here are remarkably, remarkably powerful. You should definitely check out Lux Algo. Now, let's talk a little bit about the shorter term technicals down here on the 4-hour, because I talked about the long-term stuff yesterday, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a bit. But I want to look more specifically at what's going on the shorter term time frames, because I know you guys want to know where are we going from here. Well, there's a couple things to point out. Number one, we are in a symmetrical triangle pattern right now. This symmetrical triangle pattern looks much the same as what we saw happen back between March 25th and March 27th. This triangle pattern broke to the upside following the trend that we would expect. We could have drawn a price target right here that would have told us that we were going to 47,600. Well, we went to 47,700. So this symmetrical triangle pattern broke out exactly the way it would have been predicted by TA. If we did the same thing in this case, then we would see Bitcoin rally all the way up to $50,150. But what's the likelihood of that? Is Bitcoin going to be able to break to the upside like that? Is it going to be able to build the momentum and the power that it needs to actually push up towards $50,000 during a climate of uncertainty geopolitically and economically, with raising interest rates, with conflict in Europe, and with everything else going on around the world? That's the million-dollar question right now, quite literally, or maybe we should say the $52,000 question, because that's where we want to see Bitcoin get to. Well, there's a few things to talk about here. Number one, when we're looking at trends, it's not a bad idea to look at Lux Algo, which is, in my opinion, the best trend indicator that you can use. Lux Algo right now is under a sell signal. This sell signal does not necessarily mean we're going to go into a big drop, but it does mean that we're going to have to reconfirm and get a new buy signal. The last strong buy signal we had that was confirmed on the 4-hourly chart was right here. This was a very good, strong buy signal, because from there until the sell signal, we rallied 16%. Now, you might be wondering, Jeb, did you just ignore these two signals? I did not. These two signals were not confirmed because trend catcher stayed green. You see this line right here? That is how we confirm whether a buy or a sell signal has actually taken place the way we want it to. If we see a buy signal, but the trend catcher stays red, then we don't let that be confirmed. If we see a sell signal, but trend catcher stays green, then we don't confirm that. That's why I say confirmed buy and sell signals. This was the last confirmed buy signal, rallied 16% in the span of about 7 days. Now we have a sell signal. The question is the sell signal going to lead to a drop down to 46, or can we move to the upside? Well, if we look here on the, let's see here, MACD, we can see MACD is converging bullish on itself. That's a great sign. I want to see it break to the upside. We also see the Lux Oscillator has converged bullish on itself, and it's currently green. That's also a good sign. RSI is currently sitting on its 14-hourly moving average right here, which if you didn't know, about 3 months ago, TradingView updated RSI to have a 14 interval moving average going through it, which is very helpful. It shows you when who's in charge, the bulls or the bears. And we can see right now that the RSI is actually above that trend line for the first time in about a day and a half. So that's a pretty good sign. We're sitting at 60. That means that the bulls are a little bit weaker than they were, but they are still in charge. So, Tim, I want to ask you the question. Do you personally believe that Bitcoin is supposed to go to $52,000 right now based on what we're seeing down on the shorter term time frames? And is it feasible for us to go there that quickly? Do we need a retracement first?
I think so. And the reason why is because, and I won't even go through all of it on the screen, but Smay, you can go to my screen. TD Sequential has been calling for a reversal on the daily chart, but I went back and looked at other charts, and it's not calling on all of them. I think that we might have, at the moment, almost like a hype-driven, despite the fact that there are indicators kind of showing signs that we need a reversal. I don't think we're going to have it happen yet, and I want to use RSI as an example of that. So first of all, you guys know I like divergences, but just look at this RSI level on the 4-hourly chart right here, 84. That's ridiculously high, right? So a lot of people will use RSI alone to say, oh, 84, that's a high mark. I'm a little skeptical. Maybe I should go ahead and sell. We have been comparing this whole situation back to the end of the summer of 2021, and I want to go back and show you guys similar price action and RSI action that happens over there. But just so you know, right now, RSI is high. It came back down. It did have a high peak, but we don't have this is starting to form bearish RSI divergence, or that's technically, let me look at the price real quick. No, it's actually not. As weird as that is, we don't have bearish RSI divergence, excuse me, and I want to show you why I think bearish RSI divergence will form, but it's not going to happen yet. So if I come all the way back here, staying on the 4-hourly chart, to the rally that we had at the end of this accumulation phase. So again, even though they look different, we've compared this whole accumulation phase to what we just went through. And look at this mark right here where we hit 85 in the RSI. Look at the price action right here. This is what happened. We had a dip and almost immediately jumped back up on the 4-hourly. So all of this happened within a day and a half. And then we rallied continuously up while the RSI worked its way down. This was during the rally when we got back up to all-time high. We rallied back up all the way to 53, came back down, and then rallied all the way all-time high. But my point here is, there's a reason I made this point, is a lot of people looked at this point right here and said, okay, it's time for it to come back down. We did have a 4-hour period where we had a good little red candle right there. You guys can see, if I zoom in on for you, we peaked, had that peak on the RSI, had a red candle, but almost immediately within the next day, rallied back up. I think we could see something similar happen. Let me go back to our current thing. I think we could see something similar happen where we have one 4-hour window where we actually have, where I'm coming all the way back over. Here we go. We have one 4-hour window that might bring us back down in this region of around 46.7, 46.5, but then we spike right back up to 52 before Friday. And I think that what we might see happen is a longer time frame bearish RSI divergence play out. But I do think that 52, as Jeb just asked, I think 52 is actually the number we're looking at. 51, 52 is the number we're looking at before we see a minor retracement, come back down. And it's not just 46 that people should be worried about. It might actually be 45, but that's okay because that was the top of this zone of resistance. Come back down, test that zone of resistance, let the whales and institutions, because that's what they want, to pick up more supply. Hopefully you as retail investors do the same, and then we shoot up, and that's when we start talking about 60s and so on and further bullish movement. But right now, as many things as I'm seeing on the charts saying that there's time for reversal, a lot of the reversals are actually showing that, hey, we're calling for reversal soon, but the price still has a little more upside to go before we have that reversal.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Look at this guy.
He watched the entire video.
What a cool guy.
I think the next thing that he wants to do is hit the like button and then probably even subscribe to the channel.
And perhaps even comment down below what he thought.
That would be pretty cool.
Wow, what a cool guy.